In a dense African forest lived a farmer named Toli, with his wife and 2 sons. Their home was a modest hut surrounded by tall trees and a small clearing where sunlight bathed their yard. Life was peaceful, but one day, everything changed. As Toli stepped out of his hut to begin his daily work, he froze in his tracks. Wrapped around the trunk of a large baobab tree in the forest clearing was a massive snake, basking in the morning sun. Its scales glistened in the light, and its presence sent shivers down his spine. Toli rushed back into the hut, frantic. "Toli, there's a huge snake outside, wrapped around the baobab tree. What if it comes inside and harms us?" he told his wife, who tried to calm him. "Wife, it's only basking in the sun. Perhaps it means no harm. Let's keep our distance." But the snake returned the next day, and the day after that, coiling itself around the tree as though it owned the place. Toli's fear turned into anger. "Toli, I will not allow this snake to keep coming here. What if one day it slithers into the hut and kills my family?" He decided the snake had to die. Early one morning, Toli took his sharpest axe and hid behind the bushes near the baobab tree. As usual, the snake appeared, wrapping itself around the trunk and basking in the golden light. Toli crept closer, gripping the axe tightly, his heart pounding. Summoning his courage, he swung the axe straight at the snake's head, but the snake moved at the last second and the blade struck the tree instead. The snake hissed angrily and slithered away into the forest. Toli stood frozen, realizing what he had done. "Toli, oh no, I've missed. Now the snake knows I tried to kill it. What if it comes back to take revenge?" The farmer's worry consumed him. He confided in a trusted friend who listened intently and said, "Friend, you've made a grave mistake. The snake will not forget this. Let's send some elders to mediate before things get worse." Reluctantly, Toli agreed. Before the elders could reach the snake, tragedy struck. That night as the family slept, the snake slithered into the hut and bit Toli's eldest son. By morning, the boy was gone. Grief and fear swept through the family and the village. The elders hastened their mission, venturing deep into the forest to the snake's den. When they arrived, the snake, still nursing a small wound on its body from the axe, glared at them but listened as they spoke. "Elders, the farmer deeply regrets his actions. He acted out of fear, not malice. He wishes to make peace with you and end this cycle of harm. Let us find a way for you both to coexist." The snake listened in silence before replying. "I understand the farmer's fear. But peace between us is impossible. He sees the death of his son whenever he looks at me, and I feel the pain of his machete wound whenever I see him. The wound on that tree and the grief in his heart will always remind us of what has happened. Tell him this: I will leave his home and never return. But he must leave me in peace as well. If he ever enters my domain again, there will be no mercy." The elders returned to Toli and delivered the snake's message. Grieving the loss of his son and burdened by guilt, Toli agreed to the terms. From that day forward, Toli and his family avoided the snake's part of the forest, and the snake never returned to their yard. Though life slowly resumed, the memory of what had happened lingered like a shadow over Toli's home. The tree in the yard bore a scar where the axe had struck, and every time Toli looked at it, he was reminded of his mistake. Peace had been achieved, but it came at a cost neither could forget. And so, the farmer and the snake lived their lives apart, forever wary of one another, a lesson in the weight of fear, and the scars left by actions taken in haste.